the biggest scandals that completely rocked Lifetime. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day before we begin the video. Please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. If you've ever spent an afternoon bed rotting and binge watching the Lifetime channel, then you understand the strangely addictive appeal of shows like Dance Moms, Dr. Pimple Popper, or Married at First Sight. The channel's often campy, sometimes cringy programming makes for entertaining television, but behind the scenes there have been some serious scandals that rival the drama of a ripped-from-the-headlines movie. Affairs, arrests, and accusations of sensationalism, racism, and more have turned Lifetime from a guilty pleasure into one of the most controversial channels on the air that critics, and some viewers, love to hate. Lifetime started innocently enough in 1984 as a low-budget channel geared toward women, featuring plenty of talk shows interspersed with syndicated series. The fledgling channel struggled until it dipped a toe into the made-for-TV movie world, dove headfirst into the reality realm, and never looked back. We kind of had a push-pull internally, from tabloid to classy. And many times we erred on the tabloid side, or things that were a little more salacious, a little more women in jeopardy, because that was really doing it for us in the ratings. Arturo Interian, vice president of original movies, told the Washington Post. Ratings-wise, we were addicted to the Mother, May I Sleep with Danger sort of thrillers. The channel continued to grow and evolve, and today it is as well known for the antics of its stars as it is for its lineup of shows. Abby Lee Miller of Dance Moms was a master of dance and drama, but even she couldn't sidestep the bankruptcy fraud charge that landed her in jail. The harsh dance taskmaster who made students cry and parents scream was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison, along with 2 years of supervised release. In addition to losing her freedom, Miller also lost a chunk of change when she was ordered to pay $160,000 total in fines and judgments. In an appearance on the podcast, Just Be with Bethany Frankel, the Lifetime star admitted to wrongdoing, but claimed she was the victim of an absolute witch hunt. Miller was accused of hiding nearly $775,000 of her income during the bankruptcy filing. In a bizarre twist, she was also charged with smuggling $120,000 in income from an Australian tour into the U.S. to avoid reporting it. Miller claimed that the scheme was the brainchild of Melissa Gisoni, mom of Maddie and Mackenzie Ziegler. Melissa was all in charge of all the money. I taught the dance classes. They sold the merchandise, Miller said. Despite that accusation, Gisoni was never formally charged, and Miller served her time. In a since-deleted Instagram post, the reality star expressed her remorse. "Sometimes in life you make mistakes," she captioned a photo from prison via People, adding, "I'm more than sorry for the mistakes I have made." Abby's virtual dance-off was canceled due to allegations of racism. After serving her prison sentence, Abby Lee Miller returned to the Dance Moms studio for another season, with plans to launch a spin-off. Abby's virtual dance-off were in the works. It seemed like Miller was back on top until she wasn't. Before the new show could get off the ground, Lifetime announced that not only was it canceled, but Miller would not be returning for another season of Dance Moms. It was later revealed that the real reason Lifetime pulled the plug on Miller's new show was due to allegations of racism from some former Dance Moms. The scandal started with an Instagram post from Adriana Smith, whose daughter Cameron danced during Season 8. In her comments, Smith recounted remarks made by Miller, including when she told her to look in the mirror. "That's the only reason you are here." She added that Cameron overheard Miller say, "They need a sprinkle of color." Smith left the show, but her allegations prompted other moms, including Camille Bridges, mom of Cameron, and the show's producer, Corey King, to speak out. In a private Facebook post, King wrote, "Seeing a 7-year-old little black girl be put in a box in a corner and treated so violently because of the color of her skin was heartbreaking." Via E! News, Miller apologized via her own lengthy Instagram post and promised to do better, but it wasn't enough to save her show. Surviving R. Kelly sparked a media storm and lawsuit. R. Kelly was no stranger to accusations of improper sexual behavior, specifically with minors. For years, the famous rapper was the subject of countless lawsuits and charges, yet he always seemed to escape any real retribution. Then Lifetime aired Surviving R. Kelly, and the star's world turned upside down. Called one of the most viewed programs in the history of the Lifetime network, in the New York Times, the show provided a platform for Kelly's accusers to share all the details about his abusive behavior, and this time people listened. Kelly was quickly dropped by his record label and found himself arrested for multiple charges that included, among other things, child pornography. The visibly upset rapper denied the charges in an interview on CBS this morning and told host Gayle King, "I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my King life." Kelly was convicted in 2 separate trials, in New York and Chicago, and sentenced to a combined 30 years in federal prison for his crimes that included sex trafficking and racketeering. The truth about what R. Kelly's guilty verdict really means is that the victims got justice. "The damage Mr. Kelly inflicted on his victims is immeasurable," said U.S. Attorney John R. Lausch, Jr., in a statement following Kelly's Chicago trial. "I want to thank the victims for their strength, perseverance, and courage in coming forward to testify at trial. The Chrisleys don't know best when it comes to tax evasion." The ostentatious and outspoken Chrisley family was living large and riding the high of their successful USA Network shows. Chrisley Knows Best and Growing Up Chrisley, when Julie and Todd Chrisley were sentenced for tax fraud in 2022. Rather than back away from the drama surrounding the family, Lifetime came calling and offered viewers a front row seat with a brand new show, Chrisley's Back to Reality. This series delivers an unfiltered, deeply personal look at their journey and introduces the real Chrisleys as they navigate this new chapter, Lifetime said in a statement, per The Hollywood Reporter. The new show was originally created to show how the Chrisley kids, led by eldest daughter Savannah, navigated life while their parents were behind bars. However, it took a different turn when Julie and Todd were pardoned by President Donald Trump and made their triumphant return to the real world and the world of reality. "It was the ultimate comeback story," Julie said in an interview on the Tamron Hall show, adding that no one at Lifetime knew when, or even if, a pardon was coming. "It just happened, the perfect timing." Todd Chrisley has continued to profess his innocence throughout the ordeal and has claimed that he has done nothing wrong. In a 2025 press conference following his release, the Chrisley patriarch said, "The corruption that went on in our case is going to continue to unfold. Hopefully, Lifetime is ready for it." Axe murderer Christopher Porco sued Lifetime. "I was sued by an axe murderer" sounds like the title of one of Lifetime's early made-for-television movies, but it actually happened to the network not once, but twice. In something straight out of a horror movie, Christopher Porco made headlines when he was arrested for killing his father and disfiguring his mother with an axe. The then 21-year-old University of Rochester student proclaimed his innocence, but it took a jury only 6 hours to unanimously find Porco guilty, and he was handed a prison sentence of 50 years to life. Lifetime seized on the headline-making story and made the docudrama Romeo Killer, the Chris Porco story. But Porco successfully sued the station to prevent the movie from airing, claiming that it was a substantially fictionalized account, via The Hollywood Reporter. Lifetime successfully appealed and the movie aired, but Porco wasn't finished with the station. He sued again, this time in the New York State Supreme Court for violation of the state's civil rights law. A judge agreed, and the case moved forward, but ultimately Lifetime came out on top, thanks largely to the fact that it presented a disclaimer at both the beginning and end of the show, which reminded viewers that it was a dramatization based on a true story, with some fictional elements. According to Justice Molly Reynolds Fitzgerald, per The Hollywood Reporter, the movie presents a broadly accurate depiction of the crime, the ensuing criminal investigation, and the trial that are matters of public interest. Girlfriend Intervention was labeled as racist. People love a good makeover show, as has been evidenced by the success of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy and The Biggest Loser. In an effort to capitalize on the trend, Lifetime created Girlfriend Intervention. The idea seemed innocent enough. Take the recipe for Queer Eye and mix in 4 outspoken black women and 1 frumpy white woman who needs to get her groove back. Trapped inside of every white girl is a strong black woman ready to bust out. A teaser for the show promised. What could possibly go wrong? Plenty. Before the show aired, it was getting roasted for what some critics perceived as racial stereotypes. The show's stars disagreed, and Tiffany Dixon even claimed that the real racism lied in the fact that the show was being labeled before anyone had actually seen it. I think the fact that they're criticizing it shows more racism on their side than our side, because a lot of the criticism came out before they saw us. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.